Hi, I'm Zerlina Maxwell. I'm the author of The Inner Work Dispatch. And with me is Brooke
Mm,
Baldwin, who writes her
mm.
own Substack here, Unraveling with Brooke
Yes,
Baldwin. And I'm
yes.
so excited to talk to her today. Hi.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning from Los Angeles.
Yeah,
What is it? The evening there for you or
7 p.m.
okay. Buonanotte.
Hey,
How's your Italian?
it's coming along slowly. No, it's really, really funny because I feel like two ways about it.
Yeah,
One, I need to study more, so I'm like trying to figure out the ways I can like incorporate it into my day because I work all day in English. But
yeah.
then also, my friends are so patient. So I have Italian friends, I have expat friends, and with the expat friends, we're like speaking in English. But
Right.
with my Italian friends, they just have to slow down.
Yes.
Like I learned like piano piano, which is like slow down basically.
Yes, yes.
And so that helps so much.
Yes, it's such a beautiful language. I was a journalism and Spanish double major in college, and in like a sliding door moment of my life, I either would have like moved to Latin America and fully embedded in culture down there, maybe like try to do a Fulbright and would not have done the like what became of the CNN Brooke that was. But I love language, and in order to major in a language in university, we had to take a year of something else. So I took a year of Italian,
Oh
and it's
wow.
just so beautiful just to be around it, to hear it, to soak it in. You got this, girl. Like,
No.
you do. It's I can't wait. I can't wait to eventually I've never been to Sicily. I've been
What?
all over Italy. I've never been there.
Oh my goodness. You have to come.
I know.
And you have to come in the summer. Come in the
Sure,
summer
sure,
so you
sure,
can
sure.
explore the beaches. Because let me tell you, there was a moment on a Saturday afternoon where I was sitting on a boat with my friend and we were looking at each other like, we're
This
not
my
on
life.
vacation. Right? Like it was
This
like,
my life.
this is our
Yes.
life. Like we're not actually, we didn't have to do anything special. We got on a train that was 20 minutes to get here to this boat. And now there's still water. So there was definitely like a moment where
Wow.
I was like, whoa, I did this. I actually did this.
Yes, you did. Ownership,
Yes, I got it.
self-acknowledgement.
I got it.
I did this. Yeah. Good for you, girl. Good for
So
you.
I want to talk to you about your journey because I
Mm,
feel like in reading your Substack, our journeys are aligned in
yeah.
so many ways, even
Yes.
though we are different people with different lives. So can
Yes.
you take us all back to the day, first, the day you find out abruptly, because that's how it
Yeah.
happens,
Yeah.
that you don't have your show anymore at CNN, and
Yeah.
now your whole life as you thought it would be is now changed.
Yes. No, I'm
Yeah.
4 years out. I'm so good at talking about it. And, let me just also say to everyone watching, Zerlina and I used to do TV together. Like, you used to come
Yes.
on my show. I know you had a
Yep.
show on MS. And so we had this, like, working, let's talk about politics, serious relationship. And it is so fun and liberating to just sit here with you and shoot the shit about what really matters, you know? Let's see. So I was at CNN from 2008 to 2021, and loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it until, I how I feel, and I gave a TED Talk recently where I talked about this. I feel like the way we cover news totally changed once Trump went down the escalator in June of 2015 and ran for president, and everything shifted. And tweets and panels and all the things. And so then I got a phone call, I think it was January of 2021. It was in the throes of, I want to say, the impeachment hearings, and I wasn't working because it was Washington people who were on all day, and I was in New York. And I was sitting over eggs with my then husband at a diner and got the phone call, not from my boss, but from my agent, that they would not, that I was going to be out. And I just remember like doing a thumbs down to my husband, and it took the wind out of me. I knew there were a lot of, when you work in a corporate environment, you work in a company, and there's sort of like writing on the wall, like big changes are coming, but you don't really think you're going to be part of that giant change.
Right?
So, it was one of those things where they were like, you're going to be out, but you can pick the day you leave, and we're going to work some things out with you. And I was like, okay. And so then I ended up leaving in April. And that was the beginning of what I call my unraveling. And, I use this word unraveling like it has this negative connotation, like, oh, it's got to be something bad, it's destructive, but actually it's an act of creation that only comes out of destruction. And we were talking before we even went live a second ago, and it's like, I believe that, we're born, we're kids, we have these dreams, these ideals, and then, like life happens and we become these people. I mean, when you look at you and I, like crazy successful people, and I wouldn't change a thing. And also, I think like in choices and in being on the cable news hamster wheel and everything that went along with that, like my internal compass got a bit muddied.
Yeah.
And as a result, I became this person. And I'm not saying that person wasn't me, but I like lost the plot somewhere along the
Yes. Yes.
and by getting drop kicked out of my dream job, that's literally what happened. It
Yeah.
was horrible at the time. I mean,
Yeah.
like, like little T traumatic. But now, 4 years removed, I can see what a gift. And I even had friends at the time, they were like wiping my tears. They're like, Brooke, this is going to be the best thing's ever happened to you. And I'm like,
No.
what are you talking about? And it is. And so, I mean, I can say a million things beyond that, but like, I. I love how Oprah talks about, sometimes there's like the whispers from the universe, like, you need to leave your job.
Yeah.
And then there's the knocks, and then there's the boof, the brick to the
Yeah.
forehead.
Yeah.
I got the brick. I got the
I
brick.
I can relate to this so much. Because I think that there's a moment where you have successive years back to back to back where there's something inside that doesn't feel right and you're
Yes.
unhappy, but you're not
Yes.
talking about it out loud unless you're in therapy, which I was talking about it to my therapist.
Same.
But because you're so successful, if
Yes.
you say, I'm not happy in this amazing position, then
Amazing.
people are like, you're ungrateful. What do you have to complain about? You have this
Yes.
amazing job that people are trying to get and would kill for.
Yes.
And you're like, but wait, something doesn't sit right in my spirit almost. Like you just feel disconnected from
Yes.
your soul. That's
Yep.
how I felt most of the time.
Yes.
And in a similar way, when I was called on a random day and sort of the brick to the forehead moment, it was like it hit me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
But then by the end of the night, and I texted my sister this as I was falling asleep, I felt like this weight lift. And in a lot of ways, it was a gift in disguise. I mean, you've talked about that
Yes.
because for me, I think it was maybe a month after my mom passed away. So it
Mm.
was like there was divine timing
Yes.
in that I did not have that weight while I was dealing with profound and deep grief. And now I look back and I'm like, that was all orchestrated. Somebody was looking out for me to make
Yes.
sure that I had this space to
Yes.
really process all of that. And a thing that you said that really struck me too is this person. Like you sort of like held up this person. And I wanted to ask you, what does it feel like to find who you are as a person, like
Mm.
your new identity or like maybe who you always were,
Yes.
that's separate from CNN's Brooke Baldwin?
Yes.
Because I
Yes.
feel like I can relate to that too.
Yes. I think I mean, gosh, I think back to like little, like 21-year-old me graduating from the University of North Carolina. And like, I was like, okay, I'm going to go be a weekend reporter at Dateline 29 News in Charlottesville, Virginia, is in this teeny, amazing town. And I remember at the time, like cutting my hair and helmet hair and shoulder pads, and I'm gonna like look the part, and I'm gonna lower my voice, and I'm gonna be a news reporter. And it's I think about that to come full circle to where I am now, because it's like I always was this person, and then I like put on adult clothes and became, I think initially, like any young person tries to emulate someone they admire. And then somewhere along the way, like I really did find myself as a journalist. And I'm really proud, I'm so proud of the work I was able to do. I really loved like any story that, where I could show my humanity, my curiosity, my compassion, even if somebody was on who I was like, what'd you just say? I wanted to be like, tell me more. How did you come to believe this? hard to do that when you have 5 live minutes to talk to somebody. And so it was this like dance of wanting to show up as myself. But then once those final 5 years, I'll call them like Trump 1.0 years, happened while I was on the anchor desk, I felt this expectation that suddenly I needed to be someone else.
Mm.
I needed to, we'd have all the infinite panels on, which was important to inform people and call out the BS and all of that. But it was a lot of like posturing and interrupt, and they would want me to like have people fight and let's have a viral moment. And it was like, who was going to get the headline on CNN.com, like Brooke Baldwin dunks on Trump aide, blah blah. And dirty little secret was, I didn't like doing that.
Yeah.
That's just not
Yeah.
who I was. And so I would literally like show up to work, and I was me in the morning, and then I would show up to work and I'd go in hair and makeup, and God bless those people for, some normalcy there in the morning. But then I would get shellacked. And I think that then became part of my
Yep.
armor. And then I would work all day, like inhaling my lunch at my desk, put on my, my dress and my red soled shoes and go be a news anchor for 2 hours. And it was an internal struggle over, I really did want to show up as myself. And there were moments where I really could. And I think that's where I really shined. But then the majority of the time, the currency wasn't humanity, it was fighting. And there are a lot of people who are much better at me and who are still on the air doing that. And God bless
Yes.
them. That just isn't my lane. And I think they probably knew that, and that was the direction they wanted to take CNN. And that's fine. I'm good with that, because now that I'm not sitting under those lights and getting shellacked, I mean, it'd be fun to be shellacked every so often.
It
But
is fun.
like I'm like natural curls. I could have
Mm.
never,
Right.
it's everything simple from like, I could have never gone on TV looking like my full self. And now it's a practice every day to like, what do I want to wear that makes me feel my full self? Who do I want to lean
Right.
into and talk to? What are the conversations I want to have? What is the work now where I have said no a lot, and I feel privileged to be able to say that, but
Yeah.
I only want someone to want me as my full me. I will never, ever again wear the armor. That was a very long answer, but like
No,
that's,
it's so true. I mean, speaking of changing your hair, like I remember one time as an anchor for MS, I wore my hair up as opposed to in the afro. And I was like, and they were like, not MSNBC did not say this. Someone told me, I will not say who, you
yeah,
cannot do that
yeah,
because your brand or your look is this. And so it always has to be one way.
yeah,
And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you mean I can't change my hair? So now,
right.
I mean, one of the freeing things is like changing my hair all the time.
That's right.
And having like a new hair journey because hair is expression, it's just
Yeah,
creative expression, just like everything else.
yeah,
And it's really fun. Like
yeah.
there was actually one set of braids I had that was purple. I wore purple braids for a whole
You
like two
wild
months.
woman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I went to a K-pop convention, so that's why the purple braids like really. It actually, I wasn't even the only one there with purple braids. It was like a lot of people
Amazing.
with purple braids.
Yes,
But that felt like a really liberating moment to be like, no, I
yes,
can actually put purple in my hair because I don't do cable news
yes,
anymore.
yes,
And even if I wanted to, I'm gonna come on there with my purple hair, and they're gonna either want to see that or not, and I don't care. It's like not
yes,
dictating my life anymore. It was like
yes,
anytime I went shopping, it became, can I wear this on TV
yes.
instead of like, what do I want to
Everything
wear?
everything becomes through the lens of that person you are. In our case, it was with work, and I think for people watching and listening, because I can also relate on another level. This all sounds like, on the one hand, so trite and silly. I remember like after I left CNN, I like wore purple, I had
Right,
purple nail polish.
right.
Whoa, and at the same time, I think what it's baby steps into, it's like practicing being myself. And that may sound ridiculous. Maybe that sounds radical, but I think a lot of people can relate to you wear the armor, right? You become this person that you believe society, your colleagues, your boss, maybe your husband, your wife, wants you to be. And then for me, it started manifesting also just in my body. Like I started
Yeah.
walking crooked. I was really light sensitive. I was getting headaches. And when you are out of, the word I use is alignment. When you are out of alignment, when your outsides, your marriage, your work situation, how you portray yourself doesn't match your insides, you will have a physiological response. And I didn't know that until I read, I'm going to plug because this is my Bible. Have you read this,
I
Martha
have
Beck?
not read this. Oh
Girl,
my goodness. No, I haven't read this. There's a piece of it's probably from this in Gabby Bernstein's books.
yes.
There's like a piece, there's a message in Gabby Bernstein's books that is very similar. So now I will read this one because this is my journey as well. I read all these books.
This book I read during the pandemic and it changed my life. And it made me realize, like, when I talk about body, she gives this Martha Beck. Martha Beck is this renowned life coach, Oprah's life coach. She's witchy. She's got like all of the degrees you could ever get from Harvard, but was a Mormon in Utah, has this fascinating story of how she extricated herself from the Mormon church. Cut to she writes about being in integrity. And integrity is, I'm listen, as journalists, the truth is everything.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, when you start living a life where you are not living, where your outsides don't match your insides, it affects every aspect of your life, including your health. And she talks a lot about this. And she gives this example of, like, you think of a plane flying through the air, and everything has to be obviously right with the plane mechanically, and the pilots and the this and the that. And if something is off, that plane's going down.
Yeah.
And it's just like the human body and the human self. If something about, we're not telling the full truth, she talks about going on a truth cleanse. This woman does not tell a lie.
Yeah.
As a result of reading this book,
Yeah.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Teeny little lies, big lies. And it just, that I could go on and on. But like, once I read this book after leaving CNN, I have just fallen in full integrity. And there's a lot of blowback to that. Not everyone's like, bro, put your light away. That's great. You're all like truthy truth and you got your light, like, move along, but it's an amazing read.
I can relate to this so much because I started working with a life coach, Lauren Handel-Zander, and she wrote the book Maybe It's You. And one of her main points is not lying. Everyone's lying, and she's like, you have to, first of all, you have to keep the promises to yourself
Yes.
and not lie to yourself, like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym today or whatever promises you're making. But then also being really honest to people, saying no when you want to say no, not
Yes.
feeling obligated to do things just to people please. I mean, I had to like deprogram most of what was
Recovering
happening,
people pleaser.
like recovering, but like doing much better in that regard because I feel like I was so unhappy the other way. And so even though somebody else might be temporarily happy
Yeah.
if I'm lying
Yeah.
or temporarily unhappy if I'm telling the truth, I'd rather be the one that's in alignment in that interaction.
You may lose friends. People may not recognize you. They may not want to be around you. And at first, I lost a lot of, after leaving CNN, I'd be curious about you, but after leaving CNN, when I think back to, I'm no longer married to this person, but my wedding back in 2018, like half of them were my colleagues. Like we did this whole CNN picture. There were like 25 of us, including my boss, who later let me go.
Right.
And we were all there. And I remember after leaving my job, and I remember going to the mail at the holidays, and where I used to get all these Christmas cards, I got like two, and I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
this is how it's going to be, like, and I understand. I feel like journalism or TV news is a little bit like the military. You're either like hardcore and you're
Yeah.
in, you eat, live,
Yeah.
breathe, bleed, all of it, or when you're out. And I remember being on the inside and watching people leave, and I was that person. I was like, Bye. I don't
They
know.
can't
I don't
hack it, right? Right, yeah.
can't like I don't know about her anymore, you know. And now I realize I light attracts light. That's why we're sitting here and talking.
Right.
And I think that I'm sure a lot of those people who I work with are I know that they're full of light, but it's a different kind of light. And I want to be with people on similar journeys who are living in integrity, who are fully aligned. And so I had a brutal season of losing a lot of friends
Mm.
and then being really intentional. It's crazy that I had written a book about the collective power of women. Little did I know I would be like, okay, what did I write about and interviewing all these women about how they had these incredible huddles. And so, I was able to slowly and intentionally nurture this newer group of women in my
Mm.
life who have saved me in this journey of ups and downs. What about you? I mean, I'm
Oh
sure
my
you have an
goodness.
army of people.
I can relate to the loss of friends, like, so deeply, because there were so many people who and I would actually sort of, like, flinch when they would do it back then, when they would say, "Oh, this is my friend Zerlina, she's famous," or like, "Oh, this is my friend Zerlina, she's on TV," or like and
Yes.
I'd be like,
Yes.
"That's not the only thing about me. Also, is that why you're my friend?"
Yes.
And it's so interesting to see who stayed, like, who was, like, when
Who
my
was your ride
mother
or die?
died, who showed up, who showed up when I went quiet on social media and was, like, really deeply depressed, and who was like, "Are you good? Come visit.
Yeah.
Come stay with us. You need a hug." Like, those are my people. When it
Yes.
got hard and those are the people that showed up, those are my people. There were a lot of people who were like, "I love you so much. I love you so much." This is like what they would tell me when I had the TV show. And then as soon as you don't have the TV show and you can't be helpful to them anymore,
Yes.
they disappear. But
Yes.
I'm very grateful for that clarity because there were a
Yes.
lot of people that I had put in the wrong category. And I thought that they were like best friends forever. And it turned out they weren't. But I'm actually happy that that happened, even though it was painful in the moment. Because again, whatever happens in the future, I know who I can rely on and I know who I can't. And it's not like I have bad feelings towards any of those people. It's
Yes.
just that clarity was kind of freeing for me. And I could be like, whoa, okay, I see you. And just like, I'm going to take note mentally
Yes.
and lean into the people who are showing up,
Yes.
the people who were there for me when my family was grieving and I was going through a really hard time, the people who have come visited me in Sicily,
Yes.
who are like, I want to come see you all the way across the world. Like those are my people, right?
Yes.
And I also think that there were a lot of people. I don't know. I've always had a hard time with work friends. Like I've always sort of had a hard time. I know that CNN, you felt like it was family. I've never actually approached work colleagues as like my friends because I always felt like, I mean, you don't really see me when I'm turning off this character and like going home and being myself. And so if you love me so
Mhm.
much, you're like, oh my God, I love you so much. You're so great. It's not me. I know it's not me. So it's like, you can't actually love me because you're not seeing the real person. You're
Mm,
seeing this persona and
yeah.
you're engaging and interacting, you're friends with this persona. So I
Yeah.
think there was like a deep down of distrust. Um, and so in work, I'm very like friendly and
Yeah.
kind, but I've always had these boundaries that I think have served me pretty well because when I had to leave, um, and again, like there's this weird thing online sometimes where like I get named in stories with people who have been let go by MSNBC, and I'm like, no, 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 I quit. Like, no, no. I was like, my show is canceled,
Yeah.
and I was asked to stay, and then I thought about it, and I decided to leave,
Yeah.
knowing that that's a big decision and I would change my direction and the trajectory of my career.
Yeah.
But I just knew that in my gut that that was the right decision. And again, the timing was divine and it was the right decision. But I think that the work colleagues that I was with that were like, I love you, I love you, I love you. Your show is canceled. They're not really on your phone as much.
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. No, I hear all of that, and honestly, Zerlina, you sound more evolved than I was when you say you had boundaries. I don't think I really knew what boundaries were. I didn't have boundaries, and CNN was my family. Those folks did see me fully. Like, I froze my eggs with a fellow
Yeah.
correspondent back in my
Yeah.
30s. I had a lot of folks for my bachelorette, got married, like, loved these people, like, still have all this respect for them, and also, at the end of the day, work is work, and I think it got complicated. I try putting myself in their shoes, and I have compassion for them because, like, all of a sudden, one day I'm there, and then all of a sudden, I'm having to announce that I'm leaving, and I wasn't allowed to tell the full truth as to why I'm leaving, and it's in the middle of a pandemic, and these people are smart people, so I'm sure they were like, what's really going on? What's the real
Yeah.
story? And I think it was they didn't know how to ask me. I wasn't allowed to tell, and it was just this like awkward dance of goodbyes, and then we just didn't stay as in touch. And I've heard from them from periodically when I've done that show for Netflix. I heard from everyone, or a couple pieces I've written. I've heard from folks. I still have one of my closest friends is still in the building. But you know, we I always say for friendships, season, reason, or lifetime, and those friends were a season, a beautiful long season. But I really feel like most of my girlfriends now are lifetime friends, and we're all in similar situations.
Yeah.
So we have a lot more
But
in
also
common.
you improve when you go into more in alignment, you improve your picker. So like I had
Mm,
this problem where I was
I
always
like
trying to
that.
pick the cool kids.
Right.
And like the cool kids are not the lifetime, like they're some, no offense to people like you're cool, but I'm just saying, like I
Yes.
was picking the cool kids
Yes.
and not the people that I felt most myself with, the people that I
Yes.
could laugh until I fell on the floor with, the people that could see me a little bit messy.
Yes.
I could just show up and I
Yes.
didn't have to I don't have to perform. That's the main thing that like I've learned about myself in the last 2 years is that I'm the most comfortable with people where I don't have to do a performance of my personality. I
Yes.
can just be.
Just be, just be, just be. You said something a few minutes ago that I want to jog back to. I forget the context of it, but when we're talking about being in a situation for people watching, when you're in a situation, a lot of people, I mean, listen, there's a lot of folks right now who are out of work, federal
Yeah.
government, and that is just like a whole other, my heart goes out to all of you, and we need you. But then there are a lot of folks who are maybe in their first, second careers, maybe they're at their midlife stage, 40s, 50s, and I really also believe, and I have no scientific data to back this up, but that, the pandemic really obviously rattled all of us. And some of us, as we were all forced to get really still and quiet, some of us had some really big ahas. I know I did. And I had a different situation, but I have friends now who, like, now several years removed from the pandemic, are now actually, like, making the change that
Right.
they felt during COVID. And the point I wanted to make is, if you are in a situation where you are feeling out of alignment with, let's say, your job, the thing that I was really struggling with, in addition to, as you perfectly pointed out, like, you've worked hard, it's the pay, it's the stature, it's the status, it's maybe the black cars and being fancy in New York City. For me, it was also my younger self.
Mhm.
Like, she did not want me to leave this dream job, even
Right.
though adult Brooke was like, I'd be sitting on set and I would have these thoughts like, just because you're really good at this doesn't mean you need to be doing it for the rest
That's
of your
so
life.
real. That's so
That
real.
that's my adult, the inner, like, the younger me, the like 21 through in my 30s before I landed at CNN, was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We graduated college. We lived in small towns. We rolled the teleprompter with our foot underneath the desk. We covered the water skiing squirrels and the Chinese restaurant on fire that was breaking it for 5 days. We dated the wrong guys. We froze those eggs. We didn't do anything about them. And so I didn't want to disappoint her. And
Yeah.
I could weep talking about this because I remember my last day at CNN, and I don't know what, Zerlina, I don't know what possessed me to do this. But I remember being in my little apartment by myself, and waking up, and I do this thing called the class. It's a workout. It started in New York. There's one here in LA, but you can do it online. And it was the pandemic, so I was doing it online like almost every day. And it's all about like just shaking your shit around, right? And
Hmm.
sweating and awesome music. And I remember feeling so clear afterward, and I knew I had to go in to do this show and also say goodbye, but also I was out of integrity. I couldn't tell the full truth why I was leaving. And I remember pulling out my journal at in the morning and journaling. I'd never done this before, to my younger self.
Oh,
And I needed to tell her, oof, this is going to make me weep. I needed to tell her that I was not disappointing her. I needed to tell her, like, thank you for working so hard and all those sacrifices all through the years to
mhm,
get to where we are. And Brooke, like, you did nothing wrong.
right.
This is the business. The business is tough. You did nothing wrong. I'm going to make you proud. Just hang in there. Hang in there
And
with me. And I am now so in touch with that younger version of myself.
yeah,
We chill every day. I talk to
yeah,
her every day out of my meditations, and she's very involved in the choices. I sound like a crazy person, like I'm weeing myself, but like we make choices about what we want to do, who we want to be with, what work we want to do, and that's a relief for me. And I'd be curious for you or other people. Like it's that you don't want to disappoint your younger self because of all the hoops you jump through and everything else. Do you know what I mean?
oh yeah. I mean, I think about all the weekends I didn't enjoy the weekend, or all the times that, I mean, because I started doing TV when I was still in law school in New Jersey. And so I would like go to work, go to class, go in the car to New York to do a segment. I started out doing Fox News, so then it was like, I'm going now from contracts, and I'm, like, now going to, like, sit with Sean Hannity. It was very surreal, actually. Like, it
Good
was
for
a
you.
very
Good for
surreal
you.
situation. But there were so many, 14, 15, 16-hour days, like, back to
Yes.
back to back to back to back. I am working 7 days a week, I'm working all the time because I wanted to get to a certain place and actually surpass even, like, whatever goal I had in my head in the beginning. I
Yeah.
actually, like,
Crushed it.
leaped over, right? But then there's this quote from a TV show, Mr. Robot, which is, like, not about this at all, but it's just this quote that I always remember, and it, like, hit me like a ton of bricks when it happened. "You got what you wanted, but it was the wrong thing to want."
Mm.
And I was like, "I got what I
Mm.
wanted, but maybe it was the wrong thing to want, because I got there and now I'm very unhappy. And I can't tell anybody because I should be very grateful for, and I am very grateful for the success and the money and, the this the position, but
Yes.
I'm also stressed out and, eating weirdly because, TV is a thing
Yes.
where
Grab and go. Grab
that
and
I
go.
mean, there's so much, like, wrapped up in that. So, like, I'm stressed out in a way that's not healthy, to your point in the beginning of our conversation about how it shows up physically.
Yes.
I'm not sleeping well.
Yes.
I like there's so many different manifestations from my body telling me that I wasn't happy.
Yes.
Um and I also think about the fact that when you are abruptly canceled, and it's just like the rug pulled out from under you, you you almost don't know how to even start processing that. And it's a public
Yes.
failing, which is different than if you set goals in the beginning of the year and you didn't achieve them and nobody knew because you wrote it in your own notebook that you didn't achieve your goals. Like, when you are canceled publicly, that's like a different level. So for me, it was also like
Mm.
dealing with what I felt at the time was like a failure that everybody can see. Like, I
Mm.
failed at this thing and everybody can see that I did not succeed at this thing that I was like, putting everything into. I mean, when I was hosting in the pandemic, um, I was they came and built a studio in my house,
Oh,
my
wow.
parents' house. This is the truth. In my parents' house.
Wow.
Because I was there because we were caregivers for my mom
Yeah.
in the last 4 years of her life. And so the studio that I had was next to my mom's room, literally shared a wall. And so I would like turn off all the equipment and then walk out and go to my mom's room. And that I am so grateful for, right? The ability to be with my mom every single day, the last 4 years of her life. But I also, it was crushing that I had put so much into it in that vulnerable moment where like I'm not spending time with my mom. I'm working 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
Um and and then it just being pulled right out. The rug being pulled right out from under me and then not knowing what to do like at all.
Wow. I mean, it's like you were present for your mom, but equally I don't wanna say you weren't, but, it's the damned if you do. It's like your
Yeah.
next door MSNBC was incredible to give you the studio right there, but yet you're still so ensconced in your work that your mom's there, you're present, you're sharing the same oxygen, but yet not. And I remember, um, like when you're married, let's just say what it for me, I was 100% married to my career. I don't know if I would change a thing. Like, I felt like in order to be this as successful as I became, I don't know how you could do it any other way.
Yeah.
And I'm down for hard work and the hustle. I mean, like, I'm not so into the hustle anymore, but you gotta do it, you know? I know you wrote about that recently, but you gotta do it to get to where you wanna be. Um, I don't I don't know. I guess, like, at some point shoot, I lost my train of thought. What was my point gonna be, Zerlina? What was my point gonna be?
When
You were
you're
talking about your
I was
mom.
present, but I wasn't. The
Shoot, it'll come
hustle,
back to me.
intentional hustle. But well, I will say, okay, I'll just like so I'm gonna start talking and then basically what happens in your brain is you're gonna remember what you were thinking
Yeah,
about.
100%.
But one of the things that I wrote about recently was just unlearning some of the hustle culture. So it's not that I don't work hard anymore, right? And the people that I'm around work hard, but I think that I'm influenced by Italian culture and Sicilian culture where
Yes,
when they're not working, they are not working. I
yes.
rarely see, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen, I rarely see an Italian or Sicilian person answering an email while they are at dinner
Mm,
with a
mm,
friend, right? They're not at aperitivo answering work emails. I do not see that. Maybe they're doing it and I'm not a privy to, but they're rarely even ever on their phone
yeah,
scrolling,
yeah,
unless they're alone. Like
yes,
if there's somebody across from them, they're not doing that. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm
yeah,
saying I don't see it to the extent that you do in the US. And normally, if I do see it, it's two Americans, right? Like and I know because they're speaking in English and an American accent.
yes.
And so for me, it's like I had to unlearn this constant state of productivity
Do you feel
that
like you've unlearned it? I mean, are
I'm slowly,
yeah,
like it's bit by bit.
yeah,
And so I work really hard and I have like, things I'm trying to do. And then when I stop, I stop. I don't, I actually, because there's a time difference between me and my radio producers, I stop at a certain time
yes.
answering messages.
It's such a different cultural shift. I mean, I was married to a Brit, and when I think of all the time off they take, just culturally, Europeans versus Americans, and we are 100% about hustle culture. And I remember waking up in the morning. Let's say I would wake up at 6, which was pretty. I had great hours at CNN. I had a show in the afternoon. I was not complaining, but my I had producers who I would work with who would, it was their job to wake up earlier to read in ahead of me, and emails would be flying at 4, 5 in the morning. And I remember I would like, I'm a big believer in moving my body. I'd get up, I'd go down to downtown to go work out, do a class, and I would before I would even, like, smooch my husband, I'd check Twitter, I would be so deep into reading the papers, I'd be firing off emails because I knew I needed to, like I needed to not that I was doing my job, but also get those emails out to people by a certain time in the morning so that they would know I'm up and at 'em and reading and I'm on it before I would, go into a black hole for 1 entire hour
Right.
to myself all day. And there's very much this like what time did you wake up? You know,
Yeah.
and I, you know, I work with my man who's now in Texas about to make this next movie and is like such a Capricorn and like the hardest worker I've ever met in my life. And I feel, you know, these last few months of him prepping ahead of making this movie, you know, there's been all this like churn in the house and you know, it's just made me so much more aware of, okay, I got to be doing, what am I going to be doing? I got to be working and it's just it's so tricky in our culture I think to really find that balance.
Right.
You know, like work hard when you're working, but then like you got to put it down. That's what I've learned.
Yes.
You got
Yes.
to put it down. And sorry, and then one more thing is like I remember it was Van Jones took me out to dinner, gosh, years and years ago when I was still anchoring my show at CNN, and he said this thing that has stayed with me forever, which is
Mm.
I was living in New York City, which living there, you're just kind of the like base level is everyone's running at 90 miles an hour.
Yep.
And you're all a lot of type A's, and so it's hard to say no. I was invited. I felt lucky to be invited to all these things, and yes, yes, yes. And then I was running myself ragged and getting sick. And I remember he said to me, he was like, "Brooke, you are in sixth gear." He was like, "Girl, you have got to downshift to like four at least."
Right.
To be able to slow down, and our culture slow has such a negative connotation,
Yep.
but what I have learned in my wiser older years is he was so right. When you slow down into a lower gear, you allow life to happen
Right.
with you and for you. You're not speeding and missing it and missing opportunities or making the wrong choices or
Right.
definitely out of alignment. Slowing down, and I know you being in Italy, I know you're experiencing that.
Oh, yeah. I used to describe living in New York. I still do describe it this way. I was always out of breath. Literally, like, actually, some days I literally was out of breath
Yeah,
because I worked at Sirius XM, which is
yeah,
connected to MSNBC and 30 Rock. So I'd have to do the thing where I'd run from my desk down over to do the segment, and you got to be on time, you got to be there for makeup, then you got to run up to the set, then I would run back to my office. Like I was running literally back and forth,
yeah,
or like running to catch the subway, or running to catch the car, get run like, or there was traffic and you're running into the building. Like there was a lot of running, literal running involved.
yeah,
Um, and so for me, it was like, wait a minute, I'm doing all this running and I'm doing all this hustling.
yes,
But when am I actually going to be able to catch my breath? Because I
yes.
also had this habit of looking around and I would look at people that were further along
Mm,
in the career. And this happened actually when I worked at a big law firm back as a paralegal before I went to law school. I looked around and I was like, do these people look happy?
mm,
And then when I was like, none of these people really seem very happy. And like some of them would tell me like, don't come, don't do this.
yeah,
um and I would do that as well in the news, like people who are extremely successful. I mean, multi millionaires, and they've been doing it for forever and ever. And I would, some of them obviously, like I had more personal conversations with, if that was possible, but I
yeah,
also just would watch them, and I would see how they would interact with all of the people around them. How do they talk to the makeup artist? How do they talk to the hairstylist?
yes,
How do they talk to the guy that is miking them up?
yes,
And generally, you get a lot of good information from those folks about how the very successful people are. And I'm
mm,
not like singling anybody out, but I'm just saying some of them, to me, in my opinion, didn't seem super excited about their life.
mm,
um, and I think that's really important lesson because money is very important. It can allow you the freedom to do a whole lot of things, but it's not, for me, it was like, I want the money, but it's not everything
mhm,
because they have a lot of it. And if they are not like smiling or easy coming, smiles come easily and laughter comes easily,
mm,
then I don't know if I want that. Again,
mm,
going back to like, is it the wrong thing to want? And so for me now, I am on this journey of trying to figure out what it is that I want that actually lights me up.
yeah,
That really, really lights me up. And I
yeah,
and I do think that part of it is talking about what we're talking about today, Because I mean, like, I'm reading like very similar books. I'm like having, and I want to talk about it, but
Yeah.
then there's no place for me to do it because I'm sort of boxed in this one lane
Yeah.
where this is what I do and that's what you're known for. So you have to stay in this lane. And I'm like, but I have a lot more to me. And also I've evolved in the last several years into a different person
Yes.
almost,
Yes.
or
Yes.
who I was really originally.
Yes. Yes. You know, it's interesting because it's so easy in life to be pigeonholed into the one thing you do. Like you're Zerlina Maxwell. You are really brilliant on politics and opine on, what we are experiencing today. And that is what you do. And especially moving out here to LA, and I'm not trying to do a totally different thing. I want to stay in storytelling and
Mhm.
hosting and whatever. But it was really interesting in the beginning, like meeting with people and about, like I wanted to be like, I know how to smile. Like they were
Right.
just like, you're the news person. We don't do news here. We do unscripted doc series and reality shows and social experiment shows and aren't you in the wrong place? And I'm like, no, bro, like this is also me. I want to expand like what people don't know because they see one way. And I think listen, you bring up money too. I'm just going to yap for a second. I think like, listen, we all need to keep the lights on.
Mhm.
We need to keep the lights on, and some of us are blessed that we can do more than keep the lights on. But I think that there are a lot of people out there who are like, "This is really cute that you're finding yourself and your insides and your outsides in alignment and reading the integrity book." But equally, like, I got four mouths to feed. I'm a
Yeah.
single mom. I can't move to Italy. Like, what am I to do? I think a lot about those folks. And I think a lot about and I think women in particular feeling stuck. I
Yeah.
like fantasize about writing a whole book about getting unstuck and what that looks like. And I think there are varying shades of, I'm going to make up a word, unstuckness. And I
Yes.
think that for the single mom with the four kids and who's a community leader and just can't afford to have this aha moment or have the brick to the forehead
Yeah,
and
yeah.
try to, there are ways to scratch those itches while also doing the responsible thing. And for me, I think when I was at CNN, it was just, I loved it, but it was just the last few years where I didn't. I didn't all the time. And so I made it my mission to find other outlets, some of which were in the building, just not my day job of hosting
Right.
a really hard news show, covering women, telling their stories. Then I wrote this book, Huddle, about the
Mhm.
collective power of women, which just like lit me up. You talk about being lit up. Like
Yes.
I'm like, if this is not giving me a full body yes, thank you next,
Yeah.
And it's finding those side piece moment hobby things where you are able to be in integrity with yourself while also keeping the lights on.
Mm.
I just wanted to say that.
No, and I think that one of the things I've learned in my life coaching with Lauren Handel is like you have to also take the time to think about what it is you want. And sometimes people feel like they don't have the space to do that because of all of the things that they have to do.
Yes.
They don't ever have time to think about the things that they want to do or that they're dreaming about. Like, I
Yep.
remember one of our very first sessions, she asked me, like, so what's your dream? And I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
it was so hard to even articulate a dream
Yes.
because one, I mean, I discovered later fear,
Yes.
big part of it. If I say it out loud, I have to like go try to make that happen. And if it doesn't, that's crushing.
Yeah.
But then also, I think people are not even conditioned to dream
Nope.
and think about, oh my God, wouldn't it be really cool if I did XYZ? Wouldn't
Yeah.
it be so cool if I went and did that thing that I've always been thinking about and I've
Yeah.
always envisioned it, but I never thought I could do it? And one of the things that I think that she conditions me to do is if I think about something and I'm dreaming about it for long enough, or if I'm like, I was thinking about, she's like, okay, we're going to figure out what are the steps that where you can actually do the thing.
Yes.
The other piece of it too is like, you can do, and she calls it your waitressing job. You
Mm,
can do your waitressing job, okay? Whatever career it is that's keeping the lights on,
yes,
that's keeping you fed, keeping
yes,
your bills paid, right? But then what are you doing for fun? What's the other thing?
yes.
Because she would ask me so many times in the beginning, "What are you going to do today for fun?" And it was like she was speaking in French, which I do not know. Because I was like, "What do you mean fun? I don't understand the
What
question.
is this fun?
What
We
is
don't
this
know
fun?"
fun.
She was like, "What?" Like, because I was like, "No, no, no. Like, the conversations about career, those were easier
Yes,
because it was like,
yes,
okay, I have my list. I'm gonna go down my list. I'm gonna break everything down into baby
yes,
step
that's your
tasks,
currency. That's your
daily
yes,
tasks, and I got that." But she was like, "What are you doing for just the pure enjoyment of it?" And I was like, "I literally don't understand the question. You mean like go take a dance class, but then I have to like eventually get good at it?" She's like, "No. Do you do anything where it doesn't matter if you suck?"
yes.
And I was like, "I don't even understand." Like my brain broke. I was
Totally.
like, "What?"
Totally. Your cogs were like there was like smoke coming out of your ears or imagining a cartoon. I think so many people listen, I can totally relate. My one of my favorite questions to ask people now is what does joy look like for you?
Yes.
And some people are like, "Oh, I can tell you exactly what joy is for me today." But then other people, I have had really good girlfriends. I have rocked their world with this question. They've come back to me days later and been like, "Thank you so much for asking me." Busy working mom, single mom. She was like, "I have not. You know what joy is? Getting 50 minutes to myself to get a manicure. That is joy." And I think that this is all just we need to be trafficking more in joy. And so even if you're going to be the waitress, it's allowing yourself. We women, Brene Brown talks about it all the time. Like we need permission. We need to give ourselves permission to dream. We need to give ourselves permission. It is a radical question to say, "What do I want?"
It
I
is.
I just wrote about that in my last Substack this past Sunday. It's like suddenly I am finding myself in a season of being solo.
Mhm.
My guy is in Texas making a movie. My best girlfriend just left for London to work for the next 6 months. Our Peter's I'm pointing at her room like she's still asleep. She's not here. But his teenage daughter about to go off be a freshman in college. Like it's like everyone's scattering, and I really feel like it's the universe saying to me, "Brooke, get really quiet. You're now focusing on you." And it's hard, especially for some of us women, especially for some of us who get our value in helping others, which is like a beautiful thing. I love being a generous human. And also, I can kind of sometimes hide behind, how can I help you? What are you, instead of like record scratch, get quiet, hands over heart. What do I want? It feels like a radical question, but it's the kind of question I challenge everyone listening and watching right now to just take 2 minutes today at some point. To me, I feel my most self like if I put my hands over my heart and I just breathe and then I have a conversation with myself. And it's amazing the longer I keep my eyes closed, there's real power in the inhale and exhale. Answers will come. You just have to listen.
No, it's so true. And I actually just got into meditation in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I would do all the time, especially in the 3 months where I was waiting to come back to Italy, waiting for my visa, that was like the most painful, like excruciating time for me because it was like my apartment is there. My bags are literally packed by the door. Like this is true.
Wow.
They were packed by the door. I was ready to go. All I needed was the stamped passport with the visa inside to go start this new journey.
Yeah.
And Lauren would always be like, "What are you going to do for fun today?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm waiting for my visa to come." Like, "What do you mean I have to have fun today? I'm waiting to have fun." And she's like, "No, no, no. That's not how this works. You
Yes.
have to sort of sit and visualize
Yes.
not only the thing that you want to happen, but also think about and sit with yourself and think about the things that are lighting you up. I mean, I talked
Yes.
about having purple hair for a K-pop convention, which I went to at 41 years old because in the pandemic, in the depths of the pandemic,
Yeah.
discovered K-pop, which is like one of the things that brings me joy, like
Yes.
unadulterated joy. Like I go solo, I've gone with friends, but, like, there's nothing like a K-pop concert, like, you have a light up stick that you can, like, shake around like this, it's just, like, stimulating,
Yes.
it's really, really fun, and everyone's happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So So for me, I feel like it's contagious, that feeling of joy that everybody is like
Yeah.
emitting in that space. But for me, at first it was like, wait, am I too old for this? And then it turns out no. And I've met actually a lot of people that are in my age range
Yeah.
at these concerts and conventions. And it's the same for them. It's sparking joy for them. They're like
Yes.
actually feeling happiness.
Yeah.
Um, and not the kind of like forced happiness. Cause sometimes I feel like, especially because we have to smile for pictures or like people are performing on social media now, it still feels like it's not really happiness.
Hurry up.
And
Let's
we
have a
know,
great time. I'm having a great time. Let's have
yeah,
a
yeah,
great
yeah.
time,
No,
everyone.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
you feel compelled to always post like the cool thing you're at.
Yeah.
And I do it too. So we're all doing it. But
Yeah.
I feel like I never want to post anything that makes it seem like I'm having a better time than I am just because I'm at a cool place.
Goes
Never.
back to integrity. Goes back
Yeah,
to integrity.
never.
Don't lie.
Um I used to do that all the time. All the time. Like, oh look, I'm at this fancy party,
Yeah.
but like I I don't like any of the people here and like I'm
Totally.
really having a
Guilty.
hard time. Yeah, I'm really having a
Guilty.
hard time. This is really, really
Yes.
sad.
Yes,
Um,
yes. But that's why I love Substack. I mean, like, to
yeah.
just bring this all back to this medium, like, I love Substack so much because to me, these are the people, like, in real life, I think I would, truly be friends with. I love the people who read my Substack and
I
comment.
know.
We're all on similar in similar places. We want substance. It's like a little analog. It's a little throwback. It's like, people are like, "What's Substack?" I'm like, "It's a blog." I mean,
Exactly.
I love,
That's it.
I appreciate it so much. And, it's like I work this muscle each and every week of
Yeah.
telling my full unadulterated truth. And I get itchy and I talk about things I never in a million years thought I would be writing about. I know you do as well. You talk about being in a lane and talk about politics. What I'm writing about, I'm like, sorry to disappoint the people who love watching me on TV all the time. I am not talking about, what's happening in Washington for the most part. I'm talking about what's happening in my life and how maybe it can relate and be a light for someone else. And it's just I just love this. I just love Substack so much.
Me too. I'm like trying to get the courage. I'm mustering up the courage to talk more about my personal life
Yeah.
because I feel like that's relatable. It's relatable in a way that I think people would enjoy it, but then also, follow along and then learn things about their own experiences
Yes.
because I'm in my early 40s. I'm single. I don't have any kids, and they put me they didn't, but I'm here on Love Island. So like, yeah,
Girl, we need to
literally.
know. I am gonna pop some popcorn. I need to
No,
know all the details.
so,
I need you to
like,
write all your truth.
I mean, we talk about it all the time because I have a core group of single ladies that are all from all over the world, Britain, Finland, Scotland. I have a group of like amazing women,
Wow.
Germany, and we're sort of like navigating, and none of us speak fluent Italian, which makes
Yep.
it funnier.
Yep.
Um, but we joke that like we're literally in this very hot place where everyone is like hot and like the hormones and um it's just really, really interesting to navigate. And I want to write about it, but I'm like, my dad subscribes, so that I'm like,
Girl. Girl. I My mom reads my Substack, and I have written about sex and pleasure,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I went home to Atlanta, and my mom this is how I knew my mom was reading my Substack, and she was like, "So, just wanna tell you about my night last night." And I was like, "Mom!" But but it's so freeing, and it's all again, it's practice. It's everything from you rocking the purple hair, me rocking the blue nails. It's all these, it's natural. It's please do it. Please. You could have everyone in this group write bits and pieces so that we can like live vicariously through you in your hot and sexy young 40s and freaking, in Sicily. Like, dare yourself to do it. Dare
Yeah.
yourself. I dared myself and I have never looked back. And I think also just as a result of writing Full Truth, my partner's always like, you might as well just call your Substack instead of Unraveling, me telling the truth. And it's just an incredible practice. So I'm
Yeah.
taking what I do on Substack and I'm bringing it to all these other parts of my life.
Yeah.
And I just love that anyone and everyone can jump on and people seem to care. So
No, they do. And
I'll be
it's
looking for
eight
your
o'clock.
writing.
It's 8 o'clock. Or 11 a.m. where you are.
Yes.
Um I could talk to you for like 3 more hours.
I know, I know. Let's do this again. Let's
Yes,
do this
please, let's do
again.
this again. I'm so glad that we were able to do this because, again, like, I feel like conversations flow like this when people are on similar journeys
Yep.
and, like, I feel connected in a way through the phone.
I see
Um,
you and I love you, Zerlina
I see
Maxwell.
you. I
I
see, and we
see
both have
you,
red nails. I don't know if that's a coincidence,
girl.
but
Yes. Yes.
I feel good. Yeah, that's a I think that's a thing. I
Well,
think that's a thing. It's a sign.
I am so proud. Can I say I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
I'm proud to know you. I love seeing this version of you. I love seeing you come home to yourself. As my teacher says, like you spot it, you got it. I know I've
Yeah.
come home to myself.
Yes.
And I hope just if one person is watching and they're like, okay, like this is my joy. It is happening today,
Yes. Yes.
right now. So thank you for that. And I hope people reach out to us and if y'all have questions, holler and thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm so glad that so you joined me this time. I'll join you whenever you want.
Okay, I've never I've
Whenever you
never
want.
I've never
'Cause
initiated, but if you will write about your sexy life in Italy, then I will start a Substack live. Okay. Okay.
and I'll have to tell you about like Lorenzo, Fabrizio,
Oh,
Fabio.
girl, we can make this a weekly thing. I could just like hear about your sexy life. That's great. I'm here for
It's
it.
so funny. We joke that there's like 7 names.
In all of Italy.
Yeah. That like there's like they all have, everyone has the same name. And it's so funny because you'll meet somebody and they're like, I'm Lorenzo. And we're like, I've never met a Lorenzo before. I've only met 17 of them.
I was about to make a really inappropriate joke,
It's
but
so
we're not
funny.
gonna do that yet. This is our first yeah. But
Yeah,
Lorenzo, love it. Love it. I want to hear more. I want to hear more. Write your truth, Selena. Write your truth.
I will.
Yeah.
Bye. Stay safe. Bye. Have a great day. I love
Bye.
this. It's so fun.
Bye.